Black Magic Woman podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this episode on. We also acknowledge traditional owners of the land where you, the listener or viewer, are tuning in from. We would like to pay our respects to our elders past and present and acknowledge that this always was Aboriginal land and always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast with Mundanara Bayles.
Welcome back to another episode of the Black Magic Woman podcast. My name is Mundanara Bayles, and I am so pleased that all of our viewers now, we've got a few subscribers each and every week that are finding our YouTube channel. If you've been listening for the last 3 years, thank you for following my journey. And now to all of our new audience now that's coming from the iHeart network, you can now find Black Magic Woman on the iHeart app. And if you're on a Virgin plane, Black Magic Woman has another 10 episodes as part of Virgin's in-flight entertainment. So pretty deadly. And also the Australian Podcast Awards is coming up soon in Sydney. Cannot wait to be there. It is an amazing night to actually go and meet all these other podcasters. With that said, I do have an amazing guest sitting on the couch today. And this sister girl recently was sitting on my actual couch in my house back on Cubby country on the sunny coast. And here we are now on Gadigal country having this yarn. So I really do hope that you enjoy this episode with my titta, Kelly Mundine. So without further ado, sis, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and also viewers on YouTube? Just tell us a little bit about yourself, who your mob is, where you grew up, and maybe some things that people can't find on Google.
Well, I'm born here on Gadigal country here in Camperdown. Of course, Kelly Mundine. I am the older sister of Anthony Mundine. I'm a proud woman of the Bundjalung and the Wiradjuri tribes. The Wiradjuri tribe is my mum and Bundjalung is dad. So
big shout out to Annie Lynn. I know Annie Lynn, back in the day, was very close to my mother. So I remember your mother quite well, and also Uncle Tony, your father. Big shout out. I know my little sister Binawi and Uncle Tony, they've been spending time together yarning. Yeah. And then there's that connection because you're the same age as my older sisters. Yeah. So you've known me since probably before I was even thought of.
Yes. And then, grew up around Redfern, Waterloo, Alexandria. We did all our sports in that area, me and Anthony, and also went to Cleveland Street High School at the end of, my years of schooling, as mum was the Aboriginal teacher's aide was there as well.
Annie Lynn worked at Clevo.
Yes.
There you go.
That's the only reason why we went there.
So I didn't go to Clevo. It was kind of Redfern High, but it's Alexandria Park. Yes. Now, community college school. Yeah. And that's where my nephew Bawali Bayles, if you haven't heard of Bawali, follow the Illawarra Hawks NBL basketball team. Used to play for the Sydney Kings, who was born in Queensland, came to Sydney when he was 1. But Bawali literally graduated from Alex Park a couple of years ago. And now his younger brothers, little TJ and Tiger Peace, go to Alex Park. Yeah. And I used to go to Alexandria Public School.
Yes.
And now it's Alexandria.
I think it's Alexandria College or something. Yeah. I can't remember
Alex
now.
Park
but
or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're an old Clevo High.
Yes. My last years of school.
Yeah.
We went there. Mum worked there. We did a lot of our, sporting activities within the area. So that was, Dad worked at Redfern down in Everleigh Street when he retired in 1984. They moved from the country to build a better life for himself and also the rest of the family.
Wow. So tell us about, for people that don't know your father or haven't heard of Uncle Tony, was he the first? He won a world title. He was a boxer.
Yeah, he won Australian title.
Yeah.
So he he did fight for a world title and lost against Carlos Monzon, and where Choc won 3.
There you go. So Tony Mundine is the father of obviously Kelly, and Anthony Mundine, also known as Choc Mundine, or Anthony the Man Mundine. And if you've had a listen to the yarn with Billy Dibb, who also won a couple of world championships, Billy also talks about Choc and the influence Choc had on him as a young kid, as a boxer.
Yeah.
So tell me what it was like growing up in a household where your dad was a boxer, now your brother's a boxer.
Well, see, we grew up with Choc. We're playing rugby league. That was a big part of our life as well.
So that's right. He was a rugby league player before St. George, Illawarra, Dragons.
So they were South juniors, and just same as my kids, they went through the South system, and then moved on to other clubs from there. But then, Choc went to St. George and, went from there and made a name for himself.
Yeah.
With all these backflips and everything like that. They weren't allowed to do them back. They used to say they weren't allowed to do them, but now they have, celebrate July,
they celebrate
tries now in July, that's this year.
Yeah.
So it's come a long way, but people forget where it all started with himself and Nathan Blacklock.
Yes, I remember those
the
times.
backflips and which is
then
really
he went
good.
then he came to Brisbane.
Yes,
because we were living in Brisbane, and he rocked up to our house.
Yeah.
And, he was playing for the Broncos.
Yeah, Mum actually left Sydney and went to Brisbane with him.
Did she?
Yes. So they lived up there while Choc joined the Broncos in Super League when that merge came in. And we moved to Newcastle at that time, when my partner at the time was playing with the Mariners. So I can remember their name. But, look, I've been around sports all my life, with boxing and majority of rugby league, and my son now is a professional rugby league player that plays for Melbourne Storms.
Yes, Remus Smith.
Yes, Remus.
I always tell my kids, "Hey, that's your mob there." And a lot of the kids in Coolum think my kids are just claiming any rugby league player. You got Jimmy the Jet, you got Addo Carr, there's Choc Mundine.
Yeah. So
maybe they're claiming Trell Met, right? Yeah. Everyone's claiming Trell Met.
Yeah. Why not, Just jump on that bandwagon. But, it was really good. But, I sort of, it's when you say your last name and it's like, oh, so you're related. You know. But I'm trying to find identity for myself through our businesses that me and Anthony have formed together.
Yeah.
So I've been in the disability sector for over 17 years.
Yeah.
I started from the grassroots of it all, of being a support worker, and built my way up through the sector. And we sort of, through that period of time, I sort of seen the gaps for our mob.
Yeah.
And especially when the change came in with the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
A lot of people know about the NDIS, right? And this is why this yarn, I could not wait to have it, because I've never had anyone out of like 120-something episodes, nobody come on here to be able to talk about the NDIS space, but also black fellas, brother and sister going into business together.
Yeah.
Like, that's unique.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've been in this industry for over 20 years, you've been working in the disability sector, being a support worker, saw those gaps in that system when it comes to, interactions or providing culturally safe services to our mob.
Yeah. So when St. Vincent de Paul had the LAC program, the Local Air Coordination Program, Owen Craigie was looking for LACs.
Yep.
They're the ones that do all the planning and the meetings with the families and participants before the plan is approved.
Yeah.
And he was looking for blackfellas to go in there, and so we can create some identified roles to go out into our communities. And he approached myself and said, "Sis, come on, deadly opportunity here, And
you were working for somebody else at the time?
I was working for another company at the time as a support worker.
Yeah.
It's easy, sis. We'll get through this. We'll, a lot of black fellas here. We cover, this area. I said, and it was a bit of like next step in my life to say, step out of my boundaries.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yes, in the office, because as a support worker, you're out doing activities and you're in
It's hands-on.
Yes, hands-on with the participants.
Yeah.
And, connecting with families. So it was a bit difficult. You already do it already. You talk and with families and stuff like that. I said, all right then, bud, I'll give it a go, And then from there, was in a role for 6 months and then went to a team leader role within Vinnie's, and then as the Aboriginal Engagement Officer with another colleague of mine, deadly sister from Moree, Yena Thompson, and Yena Thompson Craigie. So we sort of formed a really deadly bond, and then ended up creating 28 identified roles in Vinnie's alone, to go out and support our mob and through the NDIS and the whole process of it all.
It could be quite daunting, right, for our mob.
Very daunting.
To engage with mainstream service providers. So for, some of our, listeners and also viewers that are watching and listening to this yarn, for our mob to, go and engage with a mainstream service provider that have been impacted by the system, whether it's, past government policies that are, led to their family being institutionalised, taken by the state or put into orphanages or girls' homes and boys' homes. So you've got a lot of our mob that are living with a lot of trauma and don't have trust.
100%.
When it comes to government or any authority, it doesn't have to be a policeman in a policeman's suit for people to kind of, and be a little bit kind of traumatised with that interaction. It could be a St. Vinny's worker that's non-Aboriginal that knocks on your door and all of a sudden people are quite shaken.
Yes.
So there's this trust that we need to rebuild.
Yes.
For our mob to feel safe when they're engaging with services. And there's also this fear that your kids might get taken. And for a lot of non-Aboriginal people that are listening, you might be thinking, what has this got to do with reaching out and, getting services through the NDIS?
Well, one thing,
it's the history of this country.
Yeah. So they used to have white vehicles.
Yes.
So that's straight away.
You turn up in a white vehicle.
Going out,
and you're in a
to our communities,
yes.
In a
all
white
of a
vehicle.
Sudden, the fear.
Where's this coming? Where's this car? Why is it here?
Yeah.
And
who called that?
Yeah. So we had to sort of embed with Vinnie's that we can't have white vehicles. We have to have different colour vehicles, because that is a trigger for our people when going out into our communities, especially our remote communities. So we sort of worked through that, and Vinnie's have a wrap in place. It has taken a while for Vinnie's to get where they are right now with the wrap, but we always went back to that to ensure they were delivering the right service for our people through the LAC program, through NDIS. So previously the participants used to have block funding, and then the NDIS came in, and now it's individual funding. So it's going out and just having a meeting with that family and telling us your day-to-day routine and what you need within your funds.
And then you kind of develop a tailored plan that meets the individual needs of that participant.
And then it goes to the National Disability Insurance Agency.
Yeah.
So they're above the NDIS, and they have delegates that will approve that plan.
So you was at Vinnie's doing all this work.
Yeah.
What led you then to leave Vinnie's?
Because we did a lot of data collection.
Yes.
It's
good when you got data.
Yes, and when you go on, online, you do all your data collection. And we, as Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people, we are the highest people with disabilities
in the country.
Wow. Under every section, yes.
Okay.
So it's very interesting.
Tell us, for our mob that are listening, and also for non-Aboriginal people too, right? Disabilities.
Yeah.
Are across, doesn't matter what nationality you are, but what are some of the, when you've got clients or participants that have disabilities, what some of them are not kind of visible?
Yes, so it's like with the mental health.
So mental health.
The autism. There might be hearing impairment.
Yes.
Vision impairment.
Yeah.
They might look like they've just got sunglasses on. but there's special sunglasses for that person. So there's a lot of things there, but as Aboriginal people, we are the highest on every indicator of the disabilities. Yes.
Right.
So, which I thought, I said, as CHOC has already got a platform, I said, to him 7 years prior to this, that we need to open our own business. And he was, at the time, was still boxing, and that took up a lot of his time. And
Chuck's also got I don't know if he's still got the cafe.
He's not the cafe anymore. That sort of, because the boxing sort of took too much time.
And then there's construction.
Construction now.
He's got
a few things happening.
So this was kind of put on the back burner.
Yes, very much so.
Not that he's just sitting around doing nothing.
No. He likes to just sit on the side and you do all the work. But anyway.
Come on. So finally
we got to a point and said, let's go and find an organisation we'll just partner up with first and go through the process of it all. So we did that, and unfortunately that didn't, work out the way we want it to work out. And in that meantime, I said, let's get registered to be a NDIS service, a registered provider, and which we did.
How long was the process? Because there's a shortage of NDIS providers that are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community control or grassroots organisations.
So it took us over 15 months.
Okay. So just know that if you are thinking about going down this pathway, being in a similar position, worked as a disability support worker, been around for the last 20 years, if you want to take the next step, you're looking at least 2 years.
Yes.
So that's,
So it's going through your process, of getting where you need to get audited and all that sort of stuff. And then
was there any kind of support financially from the government?
No.
Because a lot of people think if you're an Aboriginal business, then you must have got a grant and some funding to set your business up.
Not at all. So this all come from Anthony's back pocket.
Yes.
Until we built this business and slowly, reimbursing him.
You can start paying back the loan, the debt.
Back to him. So it actually come from Anthony. He
started you had somebody invest in this business.
Yeah. And it's 100% Koori-owned.
Yeah.
From the management right down to support workers now. We have, which we're really proud of because we just made our first 12 months on the 1st of October.
Congratulations.
Going out on our own.
Yeah.
And we got 32 staff.
Wow.
Which is majority of Koori support workers.
Yeah.
Around, I'd say about 25 we have Koori workers, and the rest are non-Indigenous workers.
Tell me about that. So the organisation, the name of the company.
Yep. So Mibayn is a Bundjalung word, and it was given to us by Uncle Harry Walker Mundine from Tabulum, and it's one of Anthony's children's middle name, and he just come out of the blue and said, "Oh, we'll just name it Mibayn." It sort of didn't grow on me at first, but now I wouldn't change it because it actually suits us. Where we've got the eagle.
What does it mean, Mibayn?
It's wedge-tailed eagle.
Okay, so is that the totem for Bundjalung?
No, it's black crow.
In Bundjalung, Mibayn is eagle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then now, so we've got to fly. So the eagle is it's
your vision, it's your motto.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have that eagle there, and it makes us want to grow bigger and bigger because I know we don't have many Aboriginal registered providers.
Exactly.
Because you can still work under the NDIS being unregistered and taking on plan management or self-managed clients. But when you're registered, you can take on all three agent managed participants, which we do. We take the ones that are incarcerated.
The people incarcerated, sitting in prison, can still be on the NDIS and have support services.
So they can go in for a visit.
Yeah.
And just having a yarn with them.
Yeah. So you go into prisons and yarn with some of your clients. You call them clients or participants?
Participants.
They're participants of the NDIS program. Yeah. So they're still receiving these services, support services.
Just going in, having that yarn.
In prison.
Just sitting yarning with them. So we have one of the participants now that's incarcerated, and that's just going in 3 days a week visiting him. and making sure he's all right. His mental health is in a good space, and he wants to connect with mob a bit more and get our elders involved as well.
Well, isn't it important that for when they get released from prison, that the support services are in place, and that relationship with you as a support worker, or the organisation, have already connected with our mob?
Yes. And it's good because, as we see, and the gaps are when they're released, there's no services in place.
Of course.
So
they're highly likely to then end up back in prison.
They only know what they know.
Yeah.
And so if we start doing that connection, why they're incarcerated, when they get out, we can have a support person pick them up and take them where they need to go. Department of Housing straight away, to get to, TA and stuff like that.
Centrelink.
Yes.
Sisters are so important, having this yarn with you, because my sister Ali, she's literally 100% blind, right? And she got out of prison recently. I got a phone call from a support worker from St. Vinny's who said, oh, look, your sister's given us your number. She just needs a bit of support. She's here at this place. We're trying to get a birth certificate. It's going to take 5 days. The bank that she was with won't reactivate her account. Centrelink won't give her a payment unless she's got a bank account. Yeah. Can you just help her out with a few dollars to get deodorant?
Yeah.
Toiletries and some essentials. So I was like, no worries at all. I can do that kind of support now with a bit of, financial support. But then I was like, okay, it's going to take a week for a birth certificate. She needs a bank account. And all she had was her prison identification.
The release papers,
So the bank wouldn't accept that as ID. So, Black Card has got many relationships by rolling out training with banks.
Yeah.
So I rang up one of the brothers at one of the banks and said, my sister's got to jail.
Yeah.
Can you help me get her bank account? He put me through the right team. She got a bank account open before the birth certificate arrived and was able to get a Centrelink payment.
Yeah.
She's still out of prison.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realise, we know, and we've seen it in the media a lot, $30 billion of government investment across Indigenous kind of Australia. But we make up 3% of the population.
Yeah.
And supposedly there's $30 billion that goes to us. And if you have a look, and if you do your homework, you can go to the Productivity Commission's website and have a look at the government expenditure across Indigenous affairs, or the Indigenous budget. In 2016, only $5.9 billion reached the ground.
Yeah.
So the other $25 billion is actually spent in administration.
Wow.
So who's actually, and that report, if anyone's interested, or put in the show notes, it's the Indigenous Disadvantage Report from the Productivity Commission. It's called the Indigenous Disadvantage Report. And I always say, who's actually benefiting from our disadvantage? Because that $25 billion is spent with people working in jobs to administer the funds that don't get to the ground.
No.
So supposedly Aboriginal people get all of this money.
Well, and we never got 1 cent to start up our business.
Exactly it. And someone like my sister getting out of jail, not having any support.
Yeah.
So luckily I'm in a position to actually, give her a bit of money.
Just imagine if you weren't. So we've got a lot of mob out there that don't have family in positions like, But
I'm pretty sure my sister Ali wouldn't even be on a plan with the NDIS.
Well, we need to look into that.
That's exactly it. So we've got our own family members that we know would benefit from this support and the services.
For sure. Look.
So how do people find you? Like, what do you fellas do to make sure that our mob know that you exist?
Yeah.
Because maybe, one, they've had a bad experience and they're put off by the NDIS.
Yeah.
Or number two, they just don't even know what's available for them.
So at the moment, we're just, re-looking at our web page, and it's still up.
Yeah.
But our Facebook page, we're just taken down just to do some adjustments.
Updates.
Yeah, just some adjustments to it. Yeah. And our Instagram as well. But look, we're based at Mascot. but we do cover a fair bit of area. So we do go out southwest Sydney. We do go inner west. We do go out to. I do travel down to the Riverina.
Yeah.
I do have participants down there. That's that.
So can people just ring up, right?
Yeah.
Is it that simple to get registered?
Simple.
Or do you need to go to your GP and get a referral?
Well, you need to go to your doctor and then you get all your assessments done.
So
you've got to have,
you get like a 715, which is a health check.
And then if you've got to have different assessments done to put into the NDIS when you're doing your access forms to them, because they need certain documentation. They can be longer than 2 years old.
Yeah. So it's got to be within the last 2 years that you've been to a doctor, got your assessments to then get that referral.
Yes.
To the NDIS.
And all the other appropriate documentation.
So do you fellas actually help our mob?
We will help
with all of that? Yes,
we will help them if they having difficulties of filling the forms out.
Well, you think about a lot of our mob with literacy and numeracy not being able to read or write.
And then that's why they don't come up and go, I need support or I need help. I've travelled out to my dad's community, out to Bayugal and Malabugama. It's another little Koori community just about 2 k's down where they go, no one comes out here to us. And when they do come out here, they charge so much of our plans. Just starting as a little org, I bend over backwards pretty much and do spend stuff that I shouldn't be spending, but I do it because I need to help and bridge that gap a bit with our mob. Choc will always say, we just got to put that little bit of extra in. Don't matter if it leaves us short. Yeah. Yes, it's about us getting paid as well, but it's also how we deliver our services in our community. Don't matter black, white, brindle, we don't care. But
so your participants are not just Aboriginal people?
No, not at all. We've got non-Indigenous participants as well.
And non-Indigenous support workers and staff.
Yes.
Sis, this is absolutely I haven't come across an organisation that's black owned, right?
100% black owned too.
And we have to make a point where it's 100% because we know that there's a lot of joint ventures and there's a lot of black cladding. Yes. And it is rife in Australia where it looks like an Indigenous business.
Yes.
Sounds like it. But behind closed doors, the Indigenous partner usually has, nowhere to be seen or never even seen a bank statement,
That's right.
So this is a 100% Aboriginal-owned organisation based here in Sydney that is in the NDIS disability sector. Yeah. Is there any plans for you to grow this organisation? Are you thinking of...
Yes.
New South Wales is a bit...
Yes, look, New South Wales, we're bred and born here, me and Anthony, but we've just got our new participant in Queensland.
Oh, so there you go.
We, as service providers, we're national registered, so we can go into different states. So we are looking at Queensland.
Well, when you think about it, also, when I look at our mob and Queensland, that kind of southeast pocket is overtaking Western Sydney with the highest population of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people.
Yeah.
So it's good if you want to make sure that we're also servicing mob. We're looking at where the growth is.
Yeah. So we don't want to go in there and take over. No. Because when we go in there, we want to hire mob within that community because that then puts a little dent in our employment as well because we are the highest, unemployment people, as they say, is our data.
Yeah. So the rates of unemployment.
Yeah. So I think if we can make a change there as well, and that empowers our people to say, look, we can do this. We can, get on this bandwagon, and we don't have many Koori fellas and Murray fellas and Noongar fellas that are in the, disability space. So we need to keep pushing it.
And so it definitely is an underserviced, underrepresented industry, and for more of our mob to kind of take that next step. Like, sis, did you ever think that you would be in business, running your own show? Did you ever think little Kelly Mundine from Redfern would be running a business?
Not at all. Because, and I see my brother climb, his little ladder, and then I went right to the top and achieve what he's achieved. And so, proud of him because he's always not just looked after his family, but extended community members.
Yep.
You know,
help anyone that needs help.
Look, and people talk about, he has, over the years I've grown to have thick skin because, when I was much younger, I'd turn around and say what I had to say. But, until people meet him, they don't know him.
Yeah.
And when...
Hey, Billy Dibb mentioned this on the yarn that I had with him.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Billy Dibb was a kid and said to Choc, will you come to my gym and watch me train? And Choc turned up to the gym and he said, I couldn't believe Anthony Mundine came to the gym to watch me train.
Yeah.
Like that says a lot. This fella's not even a Koori, right?
No, he's not, and that just shows the person Anthony is, going out and just doing what he knows best what to do is, he's always been his own boss.
Yeah.
Ever since he, left St. George, he goes, I'm going to be my own boss and be my own CEO.
Yeah.
And then I always just worked and just used to get my pay fortnight to fortnight,
Yeah.
And he goes, come on.
Do your 9 to 5.
Do my 9 to 5 and, a couple of night shifts here and there. And then he goes, Sis, why don't you just, when do you want to be a CEO one day? We've got a couple of, office spaces at Mascot.
You're like,
on top of the Travelodge. And I was like, I don't know. And then he goes, we got to think outside the box as, well, I've got this platform, let's use it.
Yeah.
So that's why we went the way we did and be registered. And that was one of the best days, the 5th of December, 2022 when we got registered.
Yeah. I saw your launch on the block.
Yeah.
Was pretty special for the community to come and be part of that and to celebrate with you. I think our mob, especially our younger generations, need to be able to see that someone like you, someone like me, someone that they know can actually achieve what we're able to achieve. But, to think bigger.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing now is the start of many more things, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And you've got sister girl Anna J.
Yeah.
Working with you.
There. Look, I just chucked her in the deep end, bless her.
Big shout out to you. My titter.
Yeah,
So recently you came to the sunny coast.
Yes.
And you were there to do some training.
Yeah, so to buy a new, pretty much a new system.
Yeah, so the software developer was based on the sunny coast.
So she says, don't worry about it, sis, I've got someone up there. I said, all right then. And I haven't seen you for a long time, since you were really young. And I think I run into you at RYC launch.
Yes.
That day you were, hosting. And he goes, don't worry, we got accommodation. We'll be right, straight away on the phone.
Yeah.
And that was just, us just connecting on that level and reconnecting was deadly because then it just opens up more doors for Mibayn because we just don't want to just stay here in New South Wales. Like I said, we want to move to different states and build it where we got Mibayn Queensland, Mibayn Victoria or Mibayn Western Australia. Yeah. So we can make a stance but also empower our people to come and be in the sector and say, look, because we're very caring people. We're very loving and caring, and that's part of who we are and how we've been brought up.
Yeah.
So my mum's always, had kids, at a home care children when we were growing up.
Yeah, that door's always been open.
Mum's door's always open, never ever closed, and I used to hate it. So I said, I'm moving out when I was 17. So
I moved out when I was 15, same reason.
So I said, like, this is too busy for me, and so that sort of empowered me, as a black woman. Like, they all go, oh, how you fair skin, and then they say your last name. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're well in.
Yeah.
So, but it's just connecting how Anthony's got the platform in all these states.
Yeah.
And have a really good, positive name.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink, don't smoke, don't take any drugs. I have a drink now and then, but no drugs, no smoking. Yeah. And that's
so you're kind of setting, you are the example. Yes. You're leading by example, which is important because once you start becoming a bit of a public figure, as Choc knows, a lot of these, not just young people, but our mob in general, look up to us.
Yeah. And, we just don't want to be... Yes, we just don't want to be the ones that always stand there. We want to work in together with the other mob.
Yeah.
And our other mob out there doing NDIS. And if we can't take on that participant, well, we can ring someone else to take on the participant and work as a team. There's so much work for us out there. Yeah. This is how we all collaborate together.
And I think that's like such a positive note to be able to wrap up on. Yeah. is collaboration.
Oh,
How do we
100%.
partner? Because not all Aboriginal people that are in business right now are able to go straight out there to do business. They're usually working as like a tier 2. So there's the main contract with the main, and then we get brought in. But how do we step up like you are now, and you are the main, you hold that contract. You're registered now. And that might need, in terms of other Aboriginal businesses that are thinking of taking the next step, reach out to Kelly and Choc, have that yarn and just see what steps they took, and just know that it's not going to happen tomorrow. You've got a good 2 years to be able to get registered, to have all of those ducks lined up, to then go bang, all right, we're ready, we're going to launch, we're going to go out on our own.
I mean, it's a big move, but once you do it, you know, I think it helped me as a black woman to say, you know what, he empowered me to go, you know what, you can be and think like a CEO. And once you get in the position, and you know what, he has done that now, and just being more, you know, outside the box, and you've got to think outside and think and work with, you know, the system is also, you know, the system can be very difficult sometimes.
How to navigate the system.
Yeah.
Which is really important. Look, I literally cannot wait for more of our mob to hear about Mibayn.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Mibayn.
Mibayn. Think of that eagle now.
Yes.
In Bunjalung. If you jump online, have a look at the show notes and reach out to Sister Kelly, Mundine and Choc. Just have a yarn and find out whether or not their services or people in your family will be able to benefit from engaging with an Aboriginal provider that's supporting people with the NDIS. So look, sis, on that note, thank you so much. Sitting here hanging out with me for the day, representing in your Black Magic Woman t-shirt. It's been deadly to have a conversation about the NDIS and about Aboriginal women in business, and the fact that now you are your own CEO, and the inspiration with Choc being your brother and having a deadly son. Big shout out to you, Remus, playing for the Melbourne Storm. Maybe Bunnies might need you there, Bruss. But he's going good. Won't hold it against you there with the Melbourne Storm. But look, sis, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you got a busy schedule. Yeah. You've been here with me, yarning all day. But thanks for being generous with your time.
Deadly, thank you for giving us the opportunity to spread our wings, Mibayn Disability Services. Cannot wait to hear the feedback.
Yeah. Watch this space. Too deadly. Thank you. So I hope you've enjoyed this deadly yarn, especially for all our deadly black women out there thinking of taking that next step, especially, backing yourself and being in business. You might just need someone like Choc in your life that just says, don't you want to be your own CEO? I know if someone said that to me a long time ago, I would have thought that would never be possible. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this yarn. Until next time, bye for now. If you'd like any more info on today's guest, please visit our show notes in the episode description. A big shout out to all you Deadly Mob and allies who continue to listen, watch and support our podcast. Your feedback means the world. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify, or even head to our socials and YouTube channel and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. The Black Magic Woman podcast is produced by Clint Curtis.